Okay, this is a basic no frills ambush. This is just to give you an idea on this. There are people with far better videos out there on YouTube on this stuff. People that were infantry and they trained on this and trained and did it over and over again in real life. But this is just some basic things for you to think about. And you adapt this, change this to meet your situation, add things to it to make it more complex to throw your enemy off. But really, when you're the ambusher, you really do have three elements in this typically. Okay? We have our main body of the ambush, which is spread out here. This is our kill zone right up in here. So these guys are all orientated across the kill zone. Out here, we have our security elements. We have an element down here which is watching down the trail, down the road, and they're watching this entire area to see if anyone's coming in. Forward ahead, you have another element doing the same thing, just in case the enemy comes from that direction. We're expecting them to come from this way, but they may change it up and we get someone that's coming this way. Back here, we have just a couple people set up as rear security. They're watching behind us to make sure the enemy does not sneak up on us from behind. We're not too worried about the enemy coming in from this direction because we're orientated that way. We want the ambush to happen in this area. So if the enemy comes this direction towards us, don't really matter, does it? Now, the next element that you're not going to see on here, they would be off to the side somewhere or farther back this way. That will be your little rear element that's watching over your rucksacks, maybe watching over wounded. They could have, say, vehicles or something with them, you know, your little gators or ATVs and that type of stuff that'll be brought up to toss the captured equipment on. So they're off the side, out of the way from the enemy. They're not really going to be close enough up in here that we're going to worry about them at the moment. And they'll have their instructions as to what they're supposed to do if they encounter the enemy. All these security elements, at least these two for sure, should be told not to open fire unless they are seen by the enemy and the enemy opens fire on them first. These guys back here, they might have orders to open fire if they see the enemy coming up. If these guys hear the fire coming from back here, that tells them, hey, the enemy's coming in from behind us, so we need to change directions. Maybe have some type of alternate position picked out, a hasty position set up back in here for stopping the enemy if they're coming up this way. So these guys back here should probably have some type of radio or visual means of notifying them that the enemy's coming up. Now the enemy moves into the kill zone. The ambush gets initiated. It could be initiated by an IED, a claymore, hand grenades, a string of machine gun fire, sniper shot, whatever it is. The ambush goes off. Everyone pours in the ammo as fast and accurate as possible. That mad minute. You're putting in as many rounds as possible, and you put the rounds in the enemy till they fall to the ground. Remember your priorities for who to target first. And then, you know, you pick off everyone else after that type things. Now, once everyone in here stops moving, they're all dead. Or at least they ain't moving no more. Most of the people down here will assault through the kill zone. You might have a few people that will stay up in here in position as security, as covering fire, just in case you got people down here that are faking it. So let's say we leave our saw gunners up in here, maybe a couple grenadiers. or our squad designated riflemen or marksmen or snipers. So they're pulling security up here while everyone else is assaulting through. Now, I really would recommend, if you're a guerrilla force, if your rifle can do it safely, can mount one safely, fix bayonets before you do the assault through. Save your rounds. A guerrilla force is usually going to be short on ammunition, so when you're going through, save those rounds. Fix your bayonet ahead of time. Go up with your tomahawk, your war club, whatever it is. When you're going through, you know, you're still going to have your weapon orientated at the enemy as you're going through. But try to save the round if possible as you're moving through there. You see someone starting to crawl away and that type of stuff, well, instead of shooting them in the back or whatever to put them down permanently, stick them with the bayonet. Smash his head with the rifle butt, smash it with the war club, split it open with the tomahawk, whatever you have available. So you assault through your kill zone and you take up security on the other side just in case some people ran off. Or you may end up with an element that's going to assault in this way that you didn't know about that's up over here. So they assault through, take up positions on the other side. These guys are still covering the kill zone, so if you're up here, don't worry too much about what's going on back here. These guys already have it covered. Now, then you're going to get the order to check the kill zone. That's where you're going to have your EPW teams. Will break off. You could have some of them up here, most of them will probably be in the element down here that assaulted through. They will pull back and start going through, stripping the enemy. While you have other people that are still up here pulling security in this direction. These guys are still pulling security this way, they're still pulling security this way, these guys are still pulling security back here. They go through, strip the enemy, check them. If there's any prisoners, they deal with the prisoners according to SOP for that unit. And that includes wounded prisoners, people that have surrendered. If you get someone up in here when you're assaulting through who surrenders, the person that comes upon him stands fast, keeps his weapon pointed on that person, tells them not to move. If they start moving, it looks like their hand could potentially go for a weapon, pop them, put a round in them, and then continue on. It has happened in history more than once where people inside the kill zone basically played dead. These guys came up. These guys down here then popped up, I surrender, I surrender. Well, these guys kind of let their guard down, figuring okay, they surrendered, they'd had enough. And then these guys in here would pull pistols or hand grenades or whatever and kill these guys. And then they would try slipping away. So if you see someone down in here in the kill zone that says they're surrendering, they're starting to move, maybe indicating they're going for some type of weapon, just put a round in them. Keep a weapon orientated on them at all times. The people to your right and left are probably moving forward. They will continue, they will set up security on that side. You keep orientated on that one person. Make sure their arms are spread nice and wide. Nowhere near a weapon. When the EPW team gets called in, they will come up and they will relieve you. Then you move forward, take up your position, provided you're not part of the EPW team. If you are part of the EPW team and you're got your weapon orientated on someone, well, that's who you start with then for checking, don't you? So, after the kill zone is taken care of, the enemy is stripped and so forth, prisoners are taken care of, that's when everyone starts pulling back, linking up, and then you move out. You go back, you collect up your rucks, or you've called your ATVs, your light trucks or whatever forward, you loaded everything up, and then you get out of the area. That's just the basics. Like I said, there are people out there that have far better videos than this on this that give a lot more detail on how to do it. This is just the basics, no frills, what you do in an ambush. Now for all my engineer brothers in the Patriot and militia movements, always remember, essayons.